How are you all? Today, me Gaurav Kumar Ghosh is here to speak on the topic molecular orbital theory. So let's get started. So molecular orbital theory was developed by Hund and Millikan in 1932. The basic idea is that atomic orbitals of individual atoms combine to form molecular orbitals. Molecular orbitals? Sounds interesting. Let's see the main points. The main points of molecular orbital theory are: number 1, molecule has orbitals of definite energy levels. Orbitals of definite energy level. Don't confuse it with the atomic orbitals. We are talking of molecule having orbitals, so they will have their own definite energy levels. The second point is that number of molecular orbitals is equal to number of atomic orbitals combining. That means that if two atomic orbitals combine, then they will form two molecular orbitals. The next point is electrons are filled in molecular orbitals as per Pauli's exclusion principle, Aufbau's principle, and Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. These are the same rules which were applied even for atomic orbitals. The next point includes electron is under the influence of two or more nuclei. In atomic orbitals, we saw that the electrons were influenced by only one nucleus of any atom. But for molecular orbitals, we can have even two or more nuclei. Now, we will discuss on the difference between the types of molecular orbitals. There are basically two: bonding molecular orbitals and anti-bonding molecular orbitals. The difference is that bonding molecular orbitals, let me call them BMO, and for anti-bonding molecules, let me call them ABMO. So for BMO, they are formed due to addition, overlap of atomic orbitals. For ABMO, it is formed due to subtraction, overlap of atomic orbitals. By addition and subtraction, we basically mean that the wave function of the BMO is the sum of the wave function of two atomic orbitals. Remember, we are talking about wave functions because the concept of orbitals come from the wave function, and the concept of wave functions, as we all know, comes from the famous Schrodinger wave equation. The same principle even applies here. So for ABMO, it is simply the difference between the two atomic orbitals, hence subtraction. Now the third point is that for atomic orbitals having the same sign, we get a BMO, and for different signs of atomic orbitals, we have ABMO. The energy of bonding molecule is lower than that of atomic orbitals from which it is formed. Then, if you have lower energy for BMO, it gives high stability. But for anti-bonding molecular orbitals, we don't have that, and that's why it has high energy but very less stability. The next points are the electron density in BMO is high in the region between the nuclei of bonded atoms, while for ABMO the electron density is low in the region between the nuclei of bonded atoms. Every electron bonding orbital contributes towards the attractive force, while for ABMO it is the repulsive force. I think that this difference is very clear to you. Now for the notation we have, it goes like that. For the notation we have, as atomic orbitals are known by the letters S, P, D, F. Similarly, for molecular orbital, we have sigma, pi, and del for BMO. For anti-bonding, we again denote it by sigma, pi, and del, except we give an asterisk sign to them, just to differentiate between BMO and ABMO. They are used for different shape of the electronic clouds. Okay, so that's the notation. Remember that. Now, a very important topic in MOT, the molecular orbital theory, is, as we all know, energy level diagrams. So, energy level diagrams of molecular orbital. So, on the basis of Aufbau's rule, increasing order of energies of various molecular orbitals is given by this statement. Now, for homonuclear diatomic molecules like oxygen, fluorine, neon, we will have some similar structures. For example, we take oxygen molecule, which you can see on your screen. We have these structures which have two unpaired electrons, so they are paramagnetic. And then, as we increase the energy, the structure goes like this. So, what do we mean by paramagnetic? And then there is a word called dimagnetic. I'll make it clear as we go on. So the bond order, O2 is equal to 2, O2 asterisk means the anti-bonding molecular orbital, ABMO, is 2.5. Then O2 minus equal to 1.5, O2 2 minus is 1.0. So stability order can be seen here and bond length can be seen here. Notice that stability is very, very high for the positive ion, but for the negative ion, you have a less stability. And bond length, for the less stable, you have a larger bond length, and then, as you can see. Now, for energy level diagrams of B2, C2, and N2 molecules, we have again a configuration. You must learn these configurations because they are very important. The structure is in here. You can see the structure. It's typically hard to draw these things, but I will come up with a video in which you can see how can we draw these structures. Very easy, super easy. And if you haven't liked and subscribed till now, do it. So again, there is an increasing energy in N2 molecule. So the structure is like this. Now, the cause of exceptional behavior of molecular orbital in B2, C2, and N2. Why is there an exception? The reasons are energy of 2s and 2p atomic orbitals lie fairly close. Yes, they are. It's the energy difference. If you see the experimental values, you will find that the energy levels is not that far from each other. Due to small energy difference between 2s and 2pz, why we take 2pz? It's just a convention. You can take 2px or 2py, but as a convention, we take 2pz to be the horizontal plane. The interaction between them is quite large. This results in loss of energy by sigma 2s and sigma star 2s, and that sigma 2s and sigma star 2s. Note that it is BMO and ABMO. of 2s becomes more stable at the cost of sigma 2px, and sigma star 2px will get unstabilized higher energy. For electronic configuration of molecules and their related properties, there's the rules. For writing the electronic configuration of diatomic molecules, we have two rules. The first one is count the number of electrons present in two atoms and then fill in the appropriate energy level diagrams according to above rule. The pairing in pi 2px and pi 2py or pi star 2px and pi star 2py will take place only when each molecular orbital of identical energy has one electron. Note the thing, it's very interesting. The next point is after writing the molecular orbital diagram, following parameters about molecules and ions may be predicted. So the next slide has bond order. The bond order is given equal to half Nb minus Na, where Nb is number of electrons in BMO and Na is the number of atomic electrons in ABMO. For bond length is inversely proportional to bond order. So if you have Nb greater than Na, then the molecule exists, and if not that, then molecule does not exist. For stability of molecule is directly proportional to bond order of molecule. Dissociation energy is again directly proportional to bond order. The magnetic property, which I said, diamagnetic and paramagnetic. When electron in molecular orbital are paired, then the molecule is dimagnetic. And when electron in molecular orbitals are unpaired, the molecule is paramagnetic. Okay, so for dimagnetic and paramagnetic, what are they? If any substance gets attracted towards a magnet, then we call them paramagnetic. But if they get repelled from each other, then we call them dimagnetic. Okay, so remember that, it's a very important term. Okay, so we have then bonding in molecules. Hydrogen molecule, we have H and H, 1s1, you know. So we just make the diagram like that. The molecular orbital configuration is sigma 1s2, sigma star 1s to the power 0. Bond order as given, 1 equal to single bond, and the stability is very much due to single bond. You have a single bond, that means you have a high stability, and that's what H2 is so stable. Next, for H2 plus ion, you again see that it is paramagnetic and the structure is in front of you. And for He2, we have the molecular orbital configuration like this. It is dimagnetic, means it will repel very much from any magnetic field exposed, and it's highly unstable. You can even imagine helium is a noble gas, and when it forms helium-2, that means it forms a molecule with two helium atoms, and both are forming a bond. They both are highly stable and neutral in themselves, so why are they gonna form the bonds? But if they do, then you can understand that it will be very, very unstable, and that's what it is. Okay, now we have the question time. I'll ask you two questions. The first question is, during the formation of a molecular orbital from atomic orbitals, probability of electron density is option A, minimum in the nodal plane, option B, maximum in the nodal plane, 0 in the nodal plane, or D, 0 on the surface of flow. I'll give you 3 seconds for it. Okay, let's go to the next question. Which of the following species is paramagnetic? NO minus, O2, 2 minus, En minus, CO. You all need to answer these questions. And the second question is quite easy. You can easily draw structures and find it out. For the first question, the probability of electron density between atomic, means when you form the atomic orbitals and you form a molecular orbital, you get the nodal plane. So what is the electron density probability in a nodal plane? It was very, very clear and conceptual question. It cannot be minimum, it cannot be maximum even. Why? Because if you have minimum or maximum words coming up, that means that there will be a certain figure for it, and it cannot be 0. But we know that in a nodal plane, the electron density, the probability of it is 0, 0, 0. So option C is the correct answer. Let me check. Oh gosh, 1C, and the next is 2A. So those who figured it out, very good. So this was a quick revision video on molecular orbital theory. If you liked it, then please like, share and subscribe, and thank you.